more can be done when President Duterte himself has said he has no more money to give the people?
Essentially, we have to distinguish between our cash and our ability to borrow and what we are authorized to spend. Okay, our budget, we cannot spend any peso more than what is allocated to us in our budget. And we have an allocation of roughly 4.1 trillion pesos for this year. And we have that as an authorized level of spending. Our Constitution also prevents us from putting additional a supplemental budget without supplemental revenue. And as you know, our tax revenues are down, and our savings, basically reallocations within our budget, are pretty much used up. So essentially, we have our 4.1 trillion peso budget, and we have used it actually quite judiciously. We have spent almost $10 billion in supporting the poorest in our society with cash subsidies. Yes.
Secretary Dominguez, talking about your ability to borrow, are you intending to tap the international market this year, next year? What's the plan?
Yes, our plan is to borrow a total of around $60 billion a year, this year and next year. And the basic sharing is going to be around 75-25% in favor of the local borrowings. And we feel that our credit rating has been maintained and not downgraded, and we have been able to tap both local and foreign markets at very favorable interest rates and tenors. So our ability to tap markets is very strong.
Secretary Dominguez, David here. Pleasure to have you on the program, sir. We spoke with Secretary Carl Chua a few months ago, and he mentioned something along the lines of how obviously the tourism industry has been battered, airlines, F&B, hotels. And he mentioned the government might be considering equity infusions into some parts of that, some companies. I'm wondering if you could give us an update where that conversation is at the moment.
Actually, we expect our private sector companies to experience two kinds of problems. One is liquidity problems, which can be handled by our banking sector together with our two policy banks, the Land Bank and the BBP Development Bank of the Philippines. We are planning to inject around 50 billion pesos or $1 billion in capital in each of those banks to do two things. One, to act as wholesale banks and help the companies and other banks who have liquidity problems, and also to establish a investment company that will have the ability to invest in companies that have solvency problems. And we are going to be as sponsors to this investment company, and we're going to invite investments from IFC and other multilaterals, as well as other international investment companies to participate in this firm to be able to inject capital or equity or equity-like instruments into companies who have solvency problems.